This is Arts Alive. I'm Lynda Phillippi, and my guest today is Terry Emery. Terry is a very interesting artist who lives in Newburgh, and we're going to find out all about it. So welcome.
Thank you.
I'm super glad you're here because I met your work before I met you at Marion's place in Newburgh, and that cute little cottage gallery, I guess, that she has.
Yep.
Yeah. And these fascinated me. I have to tell you, I'm super fascinated. So I'm hoping that you're going to tell us a little bit about these and your process and how it all goes.
I will. And I wish I remembered how I started in it, but I don't.
I mean, there had to be a day when...
Yeah, I was making
like you were trying to do something different and it came out like this.
Yeah, I was making them in a rectangle. My first one was a rectangle one,
Okay.
which worked out fine, which was great because the first time when it works out, you think, oh, great. So then I started to do the circular ones. And what I did would buy old glass globes from Habitat.
Okay.
And then they're concrete, and it's just a mixture. Portland cement has to have an aggregate to stick. So when they go to make sidewalks or anything, you usually have gravel or you have, some kind of rock. So I found that to get the smooth part, you need different kinds of sand. So in these, there'll be silica sand, there's going to be vermiculite, there's obviously different kinds of colors of cement. So I have white cement, and I have gray cement, and I use some dyes in there on some of them. And it's a little hodgepodge. I'd like to say I was a great scientist and kept really meticulous notes, but I don't. And then all these rocks are gathered from, sometimes it was hiking. These ones are just, lava rocks, but this one, I think it's calcite, and they were, I got them from hiking up in Washington with my daughter.
So you have a glass globe,
so
and you pour the liquid sludgy stuff in there,
kind of,
and then you pile the rocks in.
No.
Okay.
So what you do is, depending on the number of colors of cement that you're going to have, you have a different mixture for each cement. So usually I have 2 or 3 that I mix up, and then it's often just a blind process. You take a handful of your cement and then tap it in there, and then you're trying to get the rocks in some order, and then more cement, and then more rocks, and then more cement.
It's like making a trifle.
It is like making a trifle, but it's always the problem is if the cement's too watery, well then it'll totally fill in where
you want it to be,
right? And then if it's too dry, well then it doesn't work.
Cracks.
Yeah.
So I mean, is the percentage? I'm sure now you've kind of got this down to a science, but typically, and then do you fire them? Or
no. You let them. The longer you let them stay in the mold, the shinier they become. And I like some shiny, and I like some not shiny. So, and then
it looks like. This kind of looks like it would be rough, but it's actually really smooth too.
Parts of it, because it's in that glass.
I love this.
And so then it's really hard to find those glass globes.
What are they from?
From lights, old lights.
Oh, okay, because then you have to break it to get it out.
Yes, you have to break it to
it's
get it out, so it's a one-timer. And I thought, well, I can't do that. So then I actually did go to the whole process of making a mold out of one, which was, you take a latex and you paint it 20 times with latex to make a mold, and then that's just a soft mold. So if I poured concrete in that, it would just flatten.
Mush out, right.
So then you have to make a hard mold on the outside.
Like with metal?
No, for the first one I did was resin and fiberglass, just like they make boats.
Oh.
But it was just terrible stuff to deal with, terrible.
Probably stunk.
So did the latex. It was terrible.
Right?
Yeah, and so I thought, okay, well, I did that. And then for the small one, I just used spray foam, and that kind of worked. I made a thing out of that. And now I've got another bigger one I'm trying to make, and I've done half of it in plaster of Paris. So then I'm going to do the other, and then I just haven't finished it yet. So,
I mean, really, when you think about it, like I would look at this and think, how the heck did she do it? And obviously, you figure out some kind of a mold, but it really is seriously fascinating to me, and I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, they work, not always. Some are, to me, tossable, but it's just my personal thing because the colors sometimes don't work. I try and stay with more sort of the natural colors. But I think you saw one of mine that was almost like a teal blue.
I did. That's the one I fell in love with.
Right, and it had gold flecks in it and stuff.
I love that one.
Yeah. But I wanted them all to be going outside. That was my main thing, is to be a landscape ball. But because they turned out so smooth, like you just want to, you just want to pat it.
I could like be sitting here just like
it's like Buddha's belly, right?
You just want to keep rubbing it.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Yeah.
And I like it. The sculpture you can touch. I think it's kind of important. And these are just almost like alive, and it shows to it's like the imperfections of life. Huh? It's a perfect round thing, smooth, but then
it
not
is.
so.
It's like the perfect metaphor for life.
Yeah.
It's like it looks great on the outside, and underneath you see, ooh, there's a few
bumps.
lumps and bumps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then it's really fun trying to get the color combinations. I did one with rusted nails and
get like orangey browns.
Yeah,
and
but that was kind of interesting as well.
Is white the natural color? Is that the default color?
If I use white cement, which is very hard to find, so you use white cement, and then you have to have a sand that's very white as well. I have used white dye as well. That kind of works. But
so have you ever gone to like a black sand beach or a green sand beach?
No, but that would be
They
fabulous.
let you take the sand off,
No.
though, do they? Like Hawaii,
No.
those green sand
They
beaches.
don't let you. And you can't buy it.
And it's so heavy. You can take it. Oh, excuse me, you're going to have 300 pounds of sand.
I mean, these are heavy enough. And so when I'm trying to make the bigger one, my next problem is I can't make it solid concrete because I wouldn't be able to lift it. So I have to find something to shove in the middle.
Like if you were doing, art shows in the summer, this would not be the medium you'd want to use because you'd wear yourself out hauling concrete around.
It's good. It helps you. It helps you stay fit, right?
Yeah, right. Well, you do have good arms, actually.
Right.
So
thank you.
That's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then these are something completely different.
Well, let's talk about the metal.
The metal, yes, the metal is just she's just
metal.
sitting. She's just sitting on this. She is not metal.
So did you make this too?
In a way.
Okay.
I found it on our property. It came from some old piece of equipment. So I took that, and then I had a friend just weld those on the top.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great.
So I have different kinds of things for them to sit on.
But this is the art.
This is the art
aspect
piece,
of it.
yeah.
Okay.
And she looks like metal.
She does.
But she is not. So she is made out of, she's very light.
I can see that, yeah.
So she's made out of just old fabric. So this
and
is
you put it in
old
starch,
t-shirt.
or what do you put it in?
So it's a fabric hardener. So you can feel it. It's it's very hard.
Yeah. And like it's a meshy tool or something in the back?
Yeah, this is just a little lace. And so it's all, it's just leftover stuff.
And is her hair like an SOS pad?
That one isn't, but I could use an SOS pad. This is just cotton, little fibers, cotton fibers.
Okay.
And sometimes I use embroidery thread. Because it has to be natural material.
Right.
It doesn't, if it's polyester or anything, it doesn't stick
and so
well.
then once you get the form that you want, that's when you stiffen it up and then you paint it.
So you start off making a wire armature. Okay. And then you bend it to however you want.
Okay.
And then you flesh it out with tin foil.
Oh.
To make it a little bigger. And then you wrap it in masking tape because the product likes to stick to something. It'll stick to masking tape.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So then you take.
So you put the sticky part of the masking tape on the outside.
Yeah. So you just it kind of holds on to the it holds everything in place. And so then you take these strips of T-shirt. The first thing is strips of T-shirt, and you put it in this medium, and then you wrap it. And it's all waterproof. Like this is outside. I've had them outside for 12 years that I made years ago. So these little things are just amazing.
Did you ever, I can't remember what this show was, but the artist was the murderer. And she made like sculptures and the bodies were inside.
Oh, I could do that.
You could do that. And you couldn't, you couldn't smell them or anything like that because they were so completely encased.
Yeah.
But that would have to be pretty small.
Yeah, these are pretty encased. And so, which is great because they do go outside, and then you just
so this is also an outdoor piece.
Oh yeah.
Oh. Yeah. And it won't you wouldn't have to bring it in the winter. Well, you probably
no.
would.
I've left some of mine out. The best thing to do is treat it once a year with that spray clear gloss, polyurethane stuff.
Yeah.
But I built a whole circus in COVID time.
A circus.
Well, you're stuck at home.
And I mean, so you really like lions and tigers and bears?
Yeah, but my lions and tigers and bears are the spectators.
Oh, okay.
And all the circus people are the humans, so I did it a little backwards.
Oh, how fun.
And it's been outside for, this been 2020.
How big is it?
Well, all the figurines probably about that big.
And where do you have, so you have it just like arranged someplace in your yard?
I have it, yeah, we live out in the country, so.
And now, okay, let's talk about the tour.
Yeah.
So are people going to see you in that space?
Yes, I just built a brand new studio.
Okay.
I had a little one before that was 11 by 11, and I grew out of it very quickly.
Yep.
I wouldn't matter how big it was, I grew out of it.
You're like a shark.
You just use
As
whatever
big
space
as
you
the
have.
tank
Right.
is how big you
Right.
get.
So I have a beautiful new studio. It has air conditioning and heat, which
Nice.
is lovely. And with a nice deck all the way around it so I can do the concrete stuff outside.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it is situated in my vegetable garden, which is a beautiful vegetable garden with fruit trees and
Nice. Okay.
And we do have a nice garden. And so, so people hopefully will come and visit and see all the stuff because a lot of it's already out in my yard.
Well, I was going to say, because, it wouldn't do you much good to show it at somebody else's place because this is just sort of in situ or whatever, and you want people to be able to see it.
Yeah, because it's better. If you see it in the yard, you'll see it's great. I put these in some of my flower pots, and then when the plants grow, I find something to make it go higher and higher. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about the tour a little bit.
Okay.
So the first 2 weeks of October.
Yes.
And?
Well, this is my first tour, so I'm not sure what to expect. I'm situated a little bit out of Newburgh, so about a mile, maybe a mile and a half outside of Newburgh, up the hill. So I'm hoping people will make the
Is
trip.
anyone going to come and show with you? Who's your closest?
I'm closest to, there's 5 other people, I think, on the hill, 4 other people on the hill now.
So that'll be good.
So that'll be good. They'll be able to travel
That's
up and keep
like
going.
a full-on half a day for you, for your people.
And there's in that is a multimedia artist and 2 ceramic artists, I think, and then an acrylic painter. So it's a good variety.
A nice mix.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to be wonderful. And
I'm
so
excited.
have you shown work on a tour before or anything like this?
Never on the tour. I've only gone on the tour to see everybody else's
But
work.
I mean, have you had gallery shows aside from maybe?
No. I did this as sort of on and off while I worked, just for my own amusement. And then I retired. And so then I started to do it, because now I have time.
Do you know what I love the most is how many people have that story of, I did all this, professionally, and I was always kind of in the background. And, then you finally get to retire and you finally get to, be the artist that you were always meant to be.
And it's lovely. It's just lovely. My new studio is just fabulous. I'm in it every day.
I can't even imagine how you would even take a class or get training. This is almost something like you invented the genre.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen anything like these
I haven't
before. This I learned how to do. My family's from Canada, and my sister had found this product 15 years ago, this fabric medium, and so we had done something back then, and so I have periodically done it because I like it because it goes outside.
Okay, this is.
But we learned on our own.
This is kind of like a stretch, but Rodin, right? Yeah. So we went to the Rodin Museum in Paris, and his little dancer. And she kind of reminds me of that because of the way that the folds are and how it looks so lifelike, and there's also the little lace, the little.
You get to kind of dress them like dolls.
Yeah,
a little bit. And I didn't do dolls when I was a kid, so I guess I'm making up for it.
I love this though. I mean, it's really incredible. Yeah.
And I didn't bring one, but I've also made these bodices, and so they're made over a form, so it's the same thing, but it's a bodice, and I've had more fun with that because it's all natural materials. So I dried limes and I've used them as decoration on them. I've taken ferns and used it for decorations on them.
Is it something people could wear?
It would be,
uncomfortable,
as my daughter said, it would be incredible Spanx, Mom. I mean,
right.
You're right. There's no give in it. But they have used that product for wearable art. You just have to really think about.
You know what it is? It's like for one of those Met galas or
exactly.
something. When you've got this perfect girl, and you build the whole thing for her body.
Right. And she has to be ready to be uncomfortable.
You basically strap her into it that day, and then don't sit down, honey.
Because it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
So the bodices I did were just kind of come up, that way so they can hang on a wall.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
I see.
so it's
these
just
are really
wall
decorative.
art. Yeah,
Oh,
they're
I
decorative.
love it.
So
Will you have those on display or for sale
yes,
as well?
I have those as well.
Oh, nice.
And I always try and find something, as my kids say, oh, you're ADD because you can't stick with one thing. But when you do this
You're
stuff,
a creative,
right
darling.
now I can do whatever I like.
Creatives don't have to stick with one
No, that's
thing.
what I think too.
Right?
So yeah. So I made a beautiful wreath out of it. We'll see how that works.
I can't wait to see it. This is
So,
exciting.
yeah. So I hope you come.
Oh, you bet I will.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think this year feels different to me. It feels more energetic and like more energized. I'm not quite sure how to describe it.
Yeah.
But I really have a great feeling about this. So I think it's going to be a fabulously successful year.
I think, when I've been going to others, what's really fun about this artist tour is you get to go to studios.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing more fun than seeing where a person works. And then you get to figure it out. And that's what I really liked, is figuring out how things were made. Mm-hmm. So.
Now, are you going to be, are you going to be one of the ones that the kids get to go visit in the middle of the week?
No, I don't. I could think of a great kids project, but nothing that I
don't think they usually make the kids do projects. I think they just bring the school kids out because I think the kids would really love this.
Yeah, a bus down my driveway might be a bit.
Oh,
iffy,
well, there you go. That's logistics. So okay.
Yeah, but I'm going to have it all set up so that you'll be able to see the different, ways that I do it and the steps. So.
Well, you know what, Terry, I'm super, super glad to meet you because I love your work. I loved your work before I even knew you and fell in love with you. So this is going to be great, and thanks very much for coming in today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, okay.
That's great.